Welcome to another Fireside Chat. Today we're going to be talking about multiple ways we're attacked and poisoned. We're being poisoned from all sides: radiation,
Yeah.
food, water, everywhere. Like all the fear stuff. Anywhere we're fearing, it isn't just fear either. But the doctor's retired. Can't remember his name, but he said, "What's the best thing you can do?"
Mm.
And he said that in the last year, his view had changed. I imagine that what he would have said, the most important thing that you put in your body is water.
Yeah.
I imagine. I don't know for sure, but to me that makes sense, since you can go. That's one thing you can't go without.
Yeah.
In saying that, probably hardly anyone. Like there's quite a few people. Well, there are some people that hardly drink water at all, if at all.
Yep.
Yeah, like it's, and
They're generally quite sickly, aren't they?
they are. Yeah, for sure. You definitely can't flush things out without water, and so you can get by. The body's always trying to repair itself, and there's fluid, or water fluid, whatever it is, in a lot of things. But yeah, with the current diet, it's crazy how they talk about health and for your safety and this and that, and they allow people to poison themselves from almost all directions, like constantly.
Well, even skincare and hair care now, like the amount of stuff that's coming out that's, and also the skin is your biggest organ, and yet they're telling people to, slather themselves in all sorts of, well, especially women, not just moisturizers, but all sorts of, makeup and layer upon layer upon layer of toxins.
Yeah. And the thing is, once something's found out that, this is poisonous, there's no big announcement. That's subtly changed the ingredients, and then you go and buy that product the next day, or the new product, and go, they don't necessarily say, the other one was toxic. They'll say, we've modified it, just made it healthier.
Yeah.
And there's no ramifications. Like the experimentation's being done all the time on, all these products. You don't know the long-term effects of anything, but we do know that anything that's not good for your body will break the body down. That's a fact anyway. So
it's the same with plastics. Like, they pinpointed the BPA and BPB, I think it is, and they remove those from a lot of things. But there's still, every time your plastic is warmed up, it emits gases.
Toxins, yeah.
And it's toxic. I mean, plastic gases are toxic. Everyone knows that.
Yeah. So where's the ramifications? They just change it, and that's what they constantly do. This is the issue. This is why we don't. A lot of people don't trust governments or corporations and things anyway, because it's just that it feels like everything's a cover up. Take this, have this. It's really good for you, or it's the way to go. And then later it's like, it's not the way to go anymore. It's something else.
Yeah.
Or we've changed this, and we've just been poisoning ourselves for years. Now what? No, it's okay. Just have this new way. This new way is even better. Like it's
almost like
years and years, decades.
See what they can get away with until the public spots it and make a big yahoo about it. That's when they go, oh, oops, my bad kind of thing. And then, okay, we'll take that one out and just see what else they'll not notice.
Yeah. Well, it's not even my bad. It's nothing. It's just they'll go new improved formula.
Yeah.
Like, there's some things I've enjoyed before in the shops where all of a sudden it goes off the shelf for a while. I'm thinking, I wonder if that was toxic.
Maybe. Likely. It's the same in medications and all that sort of stuff too, though. I mean, it's everywhere. I was thinking clothing. Even I remember getting one of my girls got I think it was a set of pajamas or something as a present from someone, and they stunk. They really, really smelled of some sort of chemical. So I washed them. I mean, you're supposed to wash your clothes before you wear them anyway, but wash them. But the smell was still there. But my youngest one, she really liked it. She put on the shirt, and then in the middle of the night, she was getting all itchy. And I said, that's it. It went straight in the bin. But it just makes you wonder, what on earth are they putting into this clothing and even furniture? You say with furniture, you open it, if it's been wrapped in plastic, and you can smell that plasticky smell. All of it's toxic.
Toxins everywhere. And then some of the drugs, like even ivermectin and for example, is one of the most, like, over 1 billion people have taken it. And it's one of the safest drugs, and all of a sudden it's like, no, it's not safe anymore. I mentioned before about the Jordan Peterson and interview with an ex-Australian politician, and they're saying, people have lost faith in politics, and it's the marketing and the way they coming across. They should be doing that better, but it's not. I don't think it's the marketing. It's we're finding out what's going on. Like, even with their digital identity, and wonder why we don't trust the governments. They've passed level 2 for digital identity. So once it gets past level 3, then it becomes a thing that I think we possibly all have to do or conform with.
Yep.
And they put these processes in motion, and they keep it all quiet. And if we don't find out about it, and if we don't object to it, then it's class that we agree and conform and actually want it. Like, that is so deceptive. Like, imagine us. It's like me concocting something in my basement, some poison, and going. We'll tell a couple of close friends, those that work in the labs, and if no one says anything about it, we can unleash it on the world because they don't know about it, because they're not inquiring, not knocking on the door saying, "What are you making?" Then basically we can assume in our assumptions that everyone wants to be poisoned. Everyone wants this. It's the way to go. It's insane. It is so deceptive, and I don't care. You can't blame necessarily the media for that. If the media doesn't report on certain things, you can't necessarily blame the media because they're being controlled by the governments and the people in power anyway. So you go, the media is doing this, is doing that, but it's like if it absolutely is compromised, and I'm no doubt I feel it is, it's then you can blame them, but you have to blame the people above them. So it's like, if I force you to do something, if I'm controlling, it's to blame the media you like, or you like, but they're owned by someone.
Yeah. And
the fact that the governments and the media are all working in step with each other, someone owns both of them, that you'd be quite safe to assume that at least they have their hand in each other's pockets. So I think we've just got to remain aware of people up the top and the deception around everything that's going on. Yeah, it's just, I think it's disgusting, the fact that they can keep things quiet. And unless you're in those circles all the time, you'd have no clue. The average person would have no clue. And this form to fill out for the digital identity, it'd be much easier if it was a petition. You could just sign it, send it off your signature. But this policy, and a lot of people won't do this, it appears that you have to write a Word document because you're against it. It's quite a process, and it's not easy. And in the process that I saw, like, there's no real guidelines. It's just like you have to upload a Word document or write something yourself.
But what I didn't like was that they put it out, and they said because they've gone from stage 1 to stage 3 in only, I think, less than 2 weeks, I think it is, and they said on there that they had put this out to the public on a big scale, and I thought, I don't know anyone that has seen this unless it was put out on social media by someone that had come across it. Most people, the vast majority of Australia, would not have a clue.
They might have put it in the paper and just like in a column somewhere or something, because that's like, it has to be announced to the public anyway. But who reads the paper these days anyway? And they should be announcing it. And who's to say? Like, I don't know. I'd like to think that most people in Australia wouldn't want to be tracked and traced, although everyone's used to it now. But digital identity, where they can more, like, this is China, isn't it? So, and people might go, it's just digital identity. It's like the license, but so much can be attached to that. Like, exactly. Health status. We keep saying, a lot of people keep saying it's where it leads to, and go, no, it won't happen. Imagine people said, a few years ago, we're going to be locked down, we're going to be shutting this down. They go, no, it won't happen. Yeah, no. It's like where people are saying things are potentially leading to, with the control and everything's for your, all the confinements and everything, the restrictions, it's all for your safety. But every time you move, you're in quicksand, you get locked in more and more. And I think, what government, there's a saying that anyone can excel under duress, but if you want to see a true man's character, I should say true person's character these days, then give them power.
Yeah.
And I don't know anyone that, any politicians or anyone that's actually given up power once they have it.
No.
Like, it's unheard of. And this politician that was talking to Jordan Peterson, he actually said, and I could not believe it, that one of the great attributes to Aussies is that basically, and isn't exactly how he said it, but that we conform. We're sort of easy to lead, and that's not a quality that you want to be known for. And amazing. Like, I think that's. I'm amazed. I was so amazed that was actually said.
Yeah.
Like, the last thing. Sorry, I was going to say the last thing I want to be known as is being easily led. I'd rather be a fighter. I'd rather be something. Not that I want to fight against everything and anything, but I want to be not led. I want to walk alongside. I don't want to be led anywhere. It's like, well, show me. Let's reason together. Let's discuss things, and in a relationship or whatever it is, you don't want to. There's obviously people that naturally lead and people that like to follow generally, but ultimately you want to walk together.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that the segregation between classes, and that's getting bigger these days, especially with vaccinated and unvaccinated. All of a sudden there's another class, like two classes there.
Mm-hmm.
And how can that possibly end well? Never can. It just divides more and more. It's just crazy. We have to do things together. We have to walk together. The only way for true freedom and peace and happiness is to walk together, or even at least on some level, you take turns driving, so to speak. Because it's unrealistic to think, well, we're always going to walk together. But all friendships is going to have certain tendencies, but as long as the person's valued and respected and their opinions taken into account and heard, and there's an mutual understanding where both are satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. But definitely with the governments and obviously dictatorship, they don't really validate or take note of your viewpoint unless it's for their agenda, the same as theirs.
But it's getting to that point now that if you don't agree, you are wrong. You almost become a criminal. It's always been, well, not always been, but previously you could have an opinion, and it was okay to have a differing opinion. But now it's almost like it's becoming illegal to have a different opinion, and that's what's scary about it.
Well, it seems like the people are getting punished and potentially going to jail for standing up for their rights, freedom.
Yep.
Then you've got a place in America where you can walk out of a store with anything up to or just under $1,000. Walk out and you don't get arrested. So it's like, so go along with if you go along with our agenda, every day of the week you can walk in and take out $1,000 from each shop. And you won't be punished. But go against what we say. And I just think it's insane. No one's telling anyone ultimately. No one can convince anyone what to believe. No one can. You have to be open to the possibility of talked into it. And it's like the governments and everyone saying, well, no one can use their rationalizing mind. Like, no, it's shut down. You can't do that. No one can be rational. No one would know that. Or everyone's like children. It's crazy. Like, when you become an adult at 18 or 21 in America with drinking, I guess drinking age is when you become an adult. They don't take into account that people need to exercise their reasoning mind. And it's just, how did that just stop all of a sudden? It's just, I'm still dumbfounded at the fact that they shut down one side of the conversation because they believe that person is too stupid to come up with an idea or based on everything that's in front of them. It's disgusting, really, in my view.
But it's by design, though. I mean, you can see it's been a gradual process. You see in schools, kids spend more and more time trying to learn, yet they leave knowing less than they ever had before. And I mean, if you can see that it's a failing system, then you correct it. You go back to something that worked, but they don't. So to me, it's obviously by design.
Even my little ones, they go through a patch where mum might know everything, or dad might know everything, or the teachers know everything, and then they'll ask you like a word, and you tell them how it's spelt or what it means. And I go, no, it means this. And the interesting that how they go through a period where the teachers knows pretty much everything. And my son asked me yesterday, how do you spell this? I said, oh, well, just sound it out. He said, no, you can spell it. You know how to spell everything. I said, yeah, well, that's true. Of course.
Of course.
It's amazing how they'll swing a bit. But I've said to the kids, all the kids will say to everyone, take nothing for granted, question everything.
Mm-hmm.
And everything we talk about is about not trying to convince anyone of anything. It's about just questioning everything. And if it's really simple, if you're suffering or something's going on or there's inner turmoil, get out of the habit you're in. And our talks is really just comes down to that. Try and get out of the habit that you're in. At least try a few new things and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, stay in your suffering mind that you like. Or and not saying we have all the answers, but there's so many people you can see. There's so many practices you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what I'm aware about. What I'm huge on is you don't necessarily need to find something outside of yourself. No one can give you anything to help you break through anything ultimately, unless it's like a sledgehammer and you need to break through a wall. The material what? So yeah, it can happen. But like even if you see a psychiatrist or psychologist, you have to do the work. They guide you. The best anyone can really do is guide and nurture and facilitate a space where change can take root, so to speak. But every discovery that you've had is 100% yours and myself and everyone else's. Like no one can open the door for another person. You can just show them how to turn the key. And if they're willing, they'll mirror you and they'll find a way through themselves. That's it. We give way too much give way too much of our power away, thinking that other people can fix us.
Yeah.
And with healing, the healing that I do, I'm not interested in healing people that aren't genuinely trying to heal themselves, and that if they're not trying to seek a broader opinion or broader idea or ways that they can heal themselves, then any healing that I may do is limited. So I'd rather, 100%, because it's like with diet. I was thinking of even going into the diets in a chat. So they say 99% or 95% or I don't know, it's a high percentage of diets don't work. Why is that? Well, everyone is the result of how they eat and how they live everything. And if you don't like, or anyone doesn't like how they are, then diet if you want to. But if you plan on dieting for 3 months and then you plan on eating exactly how you were, why diet? Like if you fast, I know people who fasted and they might fast for a bit and then they go back to exactly how they were. And if you fast even for a week or a few days, or you become more sensitive, your body processes stuff depending on how long you fast for. And then when you start eating again, you can process, or your digestion is enhanced to some degree if you fast long enough. If you're used to eating certain toxins that inflame your body, and then you have a break from that and let your body heal again, and then you start eating exactly the same, then you're almost doing more damage because you can absorb more nutrients potentially because you've had a cleanse, and then you put rubbish back into your system. People want to lean up a little, I feel, and they want to change their diet. It's a lifestyle thing. So for me, if I do a long-term fast or a longish fast, then after that, I'm absolutely motivated to change and go hard in my diet anyway. So I want to maintain how I'm feeling. And when you break a fast, for myself, you feel super energized. And then over a period, you might sneak a few little things back in. You'll have a few luxuries, which I'm not against that at all. But like I'm still not eating meat after my 39-day fast. But I feel if you're going to cleanse or fast or diet, you need to consider, I believe, how you want to eat and how you want to live. And I think the first thing is to look at the foods that you want to do without and that you can do without, and then start from there. And then you can fast. That can inspire you to change your eating habits. But fasting fixes, or dieting, I should say, fixes nothing. Well, neither of them fix anything if you're going to go back to how you are now. That just makes sense, doesn't it, really? But no one really thinks that far ahead. So a diet's not going to work if you're not really intending on changing. It really comes down to how you want to live, how you want to feel. If someone has maybe 10 years to live and they're eating however they want to eat, and that's one of their luxuries, so to speak. If someone said, no, you can live for an extra 10 years, but you have to change your diet. You can't eat hardly any of the things that you actually enjoy eating. You've got to weigh up. Do I want to live twice as long but not have those luxuries that I enjoy? Let's say one of the things you enjoy most is eating. A lot of people do enjoy eating. So, and I think you can find other healthier alternatives for sure if you want to.
Mm.
But would you rather live 10 years doing what you want? And, that comes down to how emotionally developed you are and how much you've worked through and how happy you are in general. But if you're not coping emotionally or mentally, and eating is one of those things that makes you feel better about yourself, you take that away and you can live twice as long, but you can't enjoy those things that you really enjoy. It's like, well, why live 20 years in hell? I'd rather live 10 years in happiness or joy to some degree. I'm not saying it's full happiness or full joy. If you're not coping well with things and you're eating, that's one of the things that help you get through, then it minimizes some suffering to some degree. So I feel everything's linked to everything. So if you're not, if you change the way you eat, or you want to live longer, then it's about striking a new balance between mind, emotions, diet, exercise, everything, of course. But I feel it's good to consider these things before you go into dieting or fasting or changing any ways. You've got to see yourself with a different type of lifestyle to some degree. You don't have to change a lot. It might be just, stopping drinking, or have alcohol one night a week or something. The last chat we had talking about it's hard to just go cold turkey and stop something. So try and find a healthy alternative to what you're doing. And try it for maybe 3 weeks and see if it's something you can do more long term. So I think it's the balance, because we get poisoned from all directions with media, with diet, with water, with pretty much everything. It's just a matter of minimizing the areas that we can and getting fresh air and getting in touch with nature. And this doctor that I've told you about before, I can't remember his name, retired doctor, that was talking about being poisoned from all directions and toxins and different things. And he said that when he was asked, what would you do? What's the most important thing you can do for yourself, for your body? And he ultimately said his view has now changed. And he said, if you can't get your mind right, then the rest doesn't matter. That is profound. That is absolutely how it is. So getting your mind right is finding the balance of everything and considering everything and the impact of everything and seeing what sits with you and what you can handle ultimately. And this is why I like the spiritual journey, because as you get in touch with more of yourself, your potential for change increases. The potential to change your lifestyle dramatically increases. And the things that you may do to cope with everyday life, it's not so important anymore, because as you work through them, you find a deeper sense of joy. The self-destructive, self-sabotaging ways start minimizing or disappearing altogether, potentially.
Yeah.
So it's about factoring in everything. And I feel that instead of fighting for an idea or what others give us, we need to look into these ideas, see the potential for any ideas to be misused. And let's look at wars and things like the atom bomb and nuclear and that sort of thing. Well, all these things are potentially designed to help humanity. Or are they? And they will all turn into weapons of destruction. So you can't say, well, the government wouldn't do this, and no, they wouldn't do that. No, that's ridiculous. Look at everything they can possibly turn into a weapon. They do. So why would we trust the governments in society? You sort of you hope for the best and plan for the worst. I'm not saying I've got a bunker in the backyard or anything like that, but within reason, you find what sits with you. But I don't blindly believe anything. Views on the world or the potential of things. I have particular views, but I'm always open to expand those views. I don't trust people that are reactionary. I'd rather trust people that are deep and contemplative and that I feel understand my point of view or that understand others, that have a sense of peace. I don't like being dictated to. I don't like being spoken down to. And I don't believe anyone does. And I feel for things to change, people have to start believing in themselves more. The rights that everyone wants, we should allow everyone else to have those same rights. Fear is the greatest tool to control anyone or people or whoever. Because fear, as we know, fear shuts down the reasoning mind. It just goes into panic mode. And we've got to try and get out of that where we can and learn to surrender. Like all the things that control, and the reason that the world's going where it's going is because of fear. And fear just shuts down the spiritual aspect. It shuts down the potential for something more. And even with anxiety, it's chemical reactions in the brain, but it's fear-based. I just see it. I've spoken about this before. Anxiety is potential, but if you fear the potential, that turns into anxiety. As always, we need to learn to be resilient. And if we're triggered, as soon as that dissipates, the triggering, we need to have a serious look at it and look at the possibilities, not just turn our backs and fear negativity or fear itself. We need to confront and look into that, and we need to look at our lifestyle, look at how we want to live. And this is not just external, this is more important on an internal level.
I just wanted to say as well, I think that with fear, if you're in a state of fear, then you will be much more susceptible to all these toxins as well.
100%. Like a V8 going place in first gear because they're scared of what it might run into. And this is the mind shut and the scenarios in the mind. It runs all these, could say, programs of, well, if this happens, I'll do this. If this happens, I'll do that. If this person says this, I'll say this. And it's because you don't back yourself. And as you start backing yourself and start letting go and surrendering, you'll just start discovering. This can be through meditation and a lot of practices that get you in touch with how you're feeling. As you start letting go, you'll start finding that you don't have to pre-program a situation. You'll find you'll just know how to handle situations, and you might be caught off guard from time to time, but as you surrender and let go, you'll find that you are more and more capable than you could possibly imagine or realize. You'll surprise yourself. Then take a chance to stop forecasting or programming situations ahead of time. I think just start taking a chance here and there and letting go, and people waste hours and hours projecting into the future or a fearful future of what ifs, buts. And if you let go, you can start enjoying the moment. You fear the future because of the past pains and past struggles that you've had, and you have to unravel and get closer to the now moment. Eckhart Tolle talks about this all the time, and it's absolutely true. But happiness is in this moment. That's it. Things can only ever be experienced in this moment. And even when you're thinking of the past and the future, you feel it in this moment, even if you're projecting in forward or backward. It's this moment, because there is only this moment. So, yeah, try and be present as much as possible. And as long as you are fearing, you will never be present. Thanks for listening to Fireside Chat. We hope you tune into the next one.